Hello basketball coaches and basketball players, my name is Alan from Al's Basketball Training, and today I am going to show you how I teach and how you could teach the zone defense in basketball. So hello everyone, my name is Alan from Al's Basketball Training. If you're new to this channel, on this channel I show you basketball plays, drills, and skills. So if you like that stuff, hit that like button and subscribe. But anyways, today I'm going to show you how I teach the zone defense. Now, the first thing I always explain to my players is, what is a zone defense? A zone defense is basically a defense where you're guarding an area of the court instead of an actual man. So basically, in a man-to-man defense, you are tethered to that man. That is your man. You're guarding him no matter what. Meanwhile, in a zone defense, you're guarding an area. So if your guy leaves the area, you're not going to care, because now that you're going to have another person in your area to guard, because you're guarding an area. So then I would then go down to the clipboard and explain to them what the zones are and whatever defense that we're going to run. So let's say today we're going to run the 2-3 zone. So let's get down to the clipboard and let me show you how I would explain this. So first, what we would have is a 2-3 zone, and I would explain, okay, so player 2 is going to be guarding this zone. Player 1 is going to be guarding this zone. Player 3 is going to be guarding this zone. Player 5 is going to be guarding this zone. And player 4 is going to be guarding that zone. Now, what you're going to see is these zones that overlap right there. Now, those 5 zones that overlap, basically there's going to be double teams that happen in that area. So right now we have player 1 with the ball. Player 2 and player 1 are going to be double teaming because he's right in the middle of their zone. If he dribbles over to this side, player 2 is going to then follow. Meanwhile, player 1 is going to still be guarding that zone. He might even take a step back to cut off anyone who's cutting towards the rim. Meanwhile, player 2 is going to follow him over, and if player 2 red gets that ball, because now he's in the middle of player 4 and 2's zone, then there could be a double team. However, what I personally like to explain to my players is, of course, we're going to be practicing this with a 5-out offense, so these players are inherently usually open when you're swinging the ball around. So if we are playing in real life against that, player 4 might just want to cover the pass. Player 2 might be wanting to, or will be playing one-on-one with that player. Player 1 will then be going to the edge of his zone. Player 5 blue will then be covering that post, and player 3 is going to be moving over. And as you can see, we are still in a 2-3 zone defense. Generally speaking, you're not going to be leaving a 2-3 zone. It's always going to be looking something like a 2-3 zone. This is going to be the same if the ball is over on this side of the court. These 2 players are going to be moving over. These 3 players are moving over, and we're still in a 2-3 zone defense. If the ball gets swung over to this side, very similar idea. Player 1 is just going to be moving down just a bit to cut off the pass. Player 4 might be moving up just a bit, but he still needs to be watching that deep corner. And then I would switch out the offense to be a 2-out, 3-in, a 3-out, 2-in, my bad. And then we can still be passing the ball around, getting that 2-3 zone used to working. Now against a 4-out, 1-in, this is how I would teach post movement first. I wouldn't just go 3-out, 2-in right away. I would go to a 4-out, 1-in, and basically I would explain, okay, so we're in our 2-3. We're going to move over just a bit because he's cutting off the backdoor drive. Player 5 is going to be on player 5 because we don't want any low post scoring. Player 3 is going to move up just a bit because player 3 is in his zone, and we don't want an open 3-point shot from him. So that's what's going to happen. Player 1 is going to be on. Player 2 is going to be in deny because we don't want player 2 red to get that ball. We don't want any swinging happening. If the ball does get swung over, it's going to be movement. The movement is going to be just like this. And that's what it's going to look like. We're still in that 2-3 zone. Now this is how I would explain this zone to my players, and then I would run them through just some very simple pass and cut type of offenses against the 2-3 zone. Of course, I would at first be telling my offense to be running very slowly against the defense, and then we would slowly pick up. Now, personally, if you have a lot of practices, up here in Canada, we would usually have 2 practices a week, and at the high school level, there would be many, many practices before our season. At the elementary school level and earlier, we would be probably practicing it for about a month to a month and a half before the actual season started. So what I normally do at the younger age group is running them through what a 2-3 zone is in the last half of one practice, a 3-2 zone in another practice, and then man-to-man always first practice of the season, because I always want to teach man-to-man first. That's just me personally. Every coach, again, is different, but even at the young age groups, I would still teach the zone defense, because then I can look at my players and say, hey, look, they're running a 2-3 zone or they're running a 3-2 zone. This is what we need to do to score, because up here in Canada, basically grade 6 and under, you cannot run a zone in rep basketball. That's club basketball like AAU down in the States. So that's some strategies that I personally run. Coaches at that level, some of them do cheat and run a zone defense. That's why I always teach my team anyways. Not that I would run it, but just so that we know what we're playing up against, and I would have one zone offense at that younger age group. But then at the older age group, I would have basically full reign. One practice each would be, at the beginning of the season, would be man-to-man defense, zone, presses, that kind of thing. And then we would run into the season. We'd be all set and ready to go. I hope that you have enjoyed today's video. If you have, hit that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you guys again tomorrow.